started with this live stream. Hi, Isa. So for today's topic, we are going to talk about something I am very passionate about, and that is being healthy while a digital nomad and traveler. But fortunately for y'all, I'm not going to be talking today because I have a special guest, Priya, here. And Priya is a blogger for PintSizeTraveler.com, where she unlocks her secrets for affordable traveling. Priya is a seasoned traveler, herself visiting 27 countries at 24 years old. That's crazy. And she is currently settled and working in Bali. And on top of all of that, she has her own retreat coming up next year. I'm super excited to hear more about that. So she has a lot going on, and you also have your own wrap company. And I really appreciate you carving out time in your busy schedule for this webinar for Nomadistas. I'm excited to get wisdom on health as traveling. So my question for you is, tell me a little bit about your journey with health. Have you always been into health as a traveler, or did your journey with health really start as a traveler?
Yeah, I think my story really started with reaching a low point in my life in 2017, but also kind of in conjunction with realizing that mental health wasn't anything to be afraid to talk about. So reaching that low point and then realizing like I have to actively be a key player in my mental health and doing something about that. That thing for me just happened to be travel. So that's how I started traveling. I realized like at this point in my life, I can't just, go through the motions of life. I actually have to take life by its horns and do what makes me happy, or else like this isn't going to go well. So I ended up starting with a solo trip to Amsterdam for my birthday, found a really good flight and took it. Didn't really think too much about it at first. Took the flight and had an amazing time. And I decided that was a state of mind that I wanted to be in all the time. And I think maybe 3 months later, decided to do it full time, just to travel and see what happens. Because as you probably know, when you travel, I think the possibilities are endless. Like some of the craziest things can happen. So I wanted to take that chance, and I did.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So would you say that for you, it started first as a mental journey and then kind of delved into the physical realm, or how do those two things connect for you?
Yeah, definitely all mental at first. Definitely all mental at first, just because, I just had to figure out what was it that was going to make me happy. What was it that was going to make me want to wake up each day and have an enthusiasm for life. So it was definitely mental. And I would even say the first year of traveling, 2018, was all mental, nothing physical at all. Actually, I wouldn't say nothing physical, because obviously when you backpack, that's all physical. I think both of them, but mainly mental, yes.
Right. That's awesome. And mental health is so important, and it's definitely not talked about enough. And I think traveling is a great way to help your mental health as well.
Yes, absolutely.
So true. So what would you do to help your mental health? Like, what did you do, any practical steps for that, or what did that look like for you?
So before I took the huge leap of traveling, I didn't just say, oh, I'm going to book a flight and just go. I actually was in therapy before I left the States, just to kind of get like an outside opinion of someone that didn't know me, So I was going to therapy before I actually took off. And she was like, well, you get really excited when you talk about this. And I was like, yeah, like, I think this is it. So I was first in therapy, felt like I got to a good place in my life, or where I could at least kind of step back and look at my situation. And then when I started traveling, I really was able to step out of my day-to-day life and take a holistic view of it and say, okay, this is what matters to me, and this is what doesn't. This is how I can now deal with the situation now that I'm not in the midst of it. And, or this is not worth rehashing, or, whatever. So I think traveling just gave me the opportunity to step out of it and give it an honest look. But I think I found the most relief through writing.
Very awesome. Yeah, journaling is a great way to really get it out there.
Mhm.
And I feel like I was in a similar position to you too, Bria, because I was also going through therapy before I started traveling
Yeah.
at university. And I think therapy is very beneficial to like help push you into what you want to do,
Yeah.
because you're looking internally into yourself.
Yeah. So did
So
you start that after you graduated, or were you about to graduate?
So I started traveling at the very end of college. So I
Mhm.
was going to therapy during college, and then I had an internship abroad while I was still technically enrolled in university.
Gotcha.
So that internship abroad was like, yeah, I took the internship abroad, and I attribute a lot of that to the therapy before that. So awesome. So I'm curious, like, what are the top things that you learned mentally about yourself while traveling?
Oh my gosh, where do I begin? That I'm capable of like anything. Like there's literally no limit on anything you can do in this life unless you put that limit on yourself. So obviously coming to that realization about me, because when you sit back and you just do these things, day in and day out, and you just kind of take each day at a time, like today I'm in Croatia, tomorrow I'm in Croatia, but next week I might be in Bulgaria. It doesn't feel like a lot because you're taking it slow. But when you step back and look at it like, oh my gosh, I did 23 countries in 3 months by myself. You're like, what can't I accomplish? So I think that's number one. Number two thing that I realized is that um, I would say number two thing that I realized about myself is that, it's never too late to create something new. Like every day is an opportunity to make something new happen in your life or manifest something new. So even if it's like, okay, today I'm buying a domain name, that's a big step in manifesting something new in your life. So yeah, I think that's number one and number two, realizing that it's never too late to create something new. Number three thing that I realized is that I don't think ever gave myself enough attention until the only person I had to be with was myself. So yeah.
Right. Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. I can definitely relate to that. And you are also an entrepreneur, so I'm just really curious. I'm planning on starting like my own businesses too eventually.
Absolutely. You should.
So I'm really
Mhm.
curious. Yeah, I'm really excited. But obviously, mental health is a big part of that. And how important do you think keeping up your mental health is as an entrepreneur? And what part of your mental health has played into your entrepreneurship?
I think keeping up your mental health as an entrepreneur is everything. If you have no stability mentally or just like in your routine, you have nothing because I mean, you just feel like there's no drive, there's no need to keep moving forward. So I think if that is not tended to first, then what capital do you have to really put in your business? You can have all the money in the world, but like, how much money you have to put into your business, it doesn't matter how good your idea is because you don't have the energy and the will to go on. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely.
And as
So,
far as as far as my mental health, I'm sorry, I didn't answer the full question. I'm sorry. So the
oh,
second part to your question, um, how has my mental health played into my entrepreneurship? I think like I said before, when you realize that there is no limit to anything you can do in life, that's when you really start to let yourself dream as much as possible, as high as possible, as wide as possible. And that's when you really start to get that, I guess, like that energy or that battery in your back to actually go for those things that you dream about. So if you have like low self-esteem or no confidence or you're just not ever in a good place, then you're never going to have that motivation or that will to really try.
yeah, definitely. I agree with all of that. It's definitely, if you don't have, like you said, confidence or esteem, then the minute something goes wrong, it's all
It's
over
over.
for
Yeah.
you. Yeah, definitely. So I'm curious, what is your mental health routine? Do you have a special routine? or anything of that sort, like a morning routine or something like that?
Honestly, I have fell off the wagon so bad lately, and I made it a goal to actually make time this week to start back. But I'll tell you what it was, probably for like the last year or so. It was always to wake up and read my devotional in my Bible app. Um, I think it's just a very cool and structured way to, like, have something you keep up with and check in with on a daily basis. Sometimes I would use an app called Abide, and it was like a devotional slash like breathing exercise in one. And I would just sit there and do that first, and then I would probably start my day. Yeah. Definitely starts
Awesome.
with prayer, though. Definitely.
That's so cool. Yeah. It's really interesting for me to hear. I don't know if you've read the book Tribe of Mentors by Tim Ferriss. And
No, I
he
have.
like asked, you haven't? Oh, okay. Yeah, it's super fascinating to me to hear like CEOs and all of these important people and what their morning routine is like, and how they, because a lot of them have these intense like morning rituals of prayer, meditation, cold baths, and all of these things. So it's really interesting to hear how people keep up their mental health that are in those stressful positions.
Yeah.
Isa just asked a question actually that we can go ahead and answer since it goes really well with what we just talked about. Bria, how can you keep up with a good health routine with constant travel, being jet lagged, or just overall life events can make it really challenging?
Yeah, Issa, I totally agree with that point. Like, even just lack of sleep or just like something going on back at home that you have no control over can really like set you back in some ways. So I think for me, um, constantly checking in with the people that are constants in my life. So even though things are constantly changing around me, I know that my mom, my dad, and my siblings are, doing well, and I make sure that I check in with them. So that always puts me in a good mental space. Um, Honestly, prayer just does a lot for me. So that can really contribute to an overall good mood. And then when it comes to like my physical being, um, if I'm feeling like maybe sluggish or maybe just like not myself, then I'll eat the things that I'm familiar with. So maybe I'll, like, even if I'm in a hostel or something like that, I'll make a trip to the grocery store and just make something that I would eat at home normally. And I think even just having a meal that's so familiar to you can like make you feel so good inside. Yeah.
Good question, Isa. I really like that one a lot. It's true. Having an inconsistent schedule can be really exhausting. So finding stable things and foundational things is really important.
But I'll be honest and say that there is like sometimes long stretches of time that you just don't feel, very good mentally. So, I mean, I think whenever you feel like that, it's okay to feel it, but have a game plan on how you're going to turn it around. Because I think that can be the beautiful part about traveling is allowing yourself to feel different things, but not allowing yourself to stay there and uh, intentionally working to get out of that.
Yeah, definitely. And I wanted to ask you too, like when you have those low points, because I've seen that you've expressed when you feel low during traveling and stuff
Mhm.
like that, which I really like a lot about you. What do you do to get out of those times? Do you just like let yourself feel it, or what are your steps to getting out of that rut?
Um, so yeah, like I just said, I allow myself to feel it because one thing that I never want travel to be is a band-aid. I think escaping physically can really be a easy way to escape mentally. And sometimes I've done that. Sometimes I've literally found new things to do in Bali to make myself not feel the negative emotions or whatever's going on. But allowing myself to feel it fully, talking to my mom, of course, and then really stepping back and saying, what lesson in this can I then take from the situation and apply it to, you know, the next season of my life, or the next good thing, or the next, I don't know, era of my life.
Yeah, for sure. Wow. Thank you for sharing that with us. And I'm a little curious too, what does your physical health look like? Are you as focused on that, or do you find it as important, or what is your physical health, and what has your journey with your physical health been like?
With my physical health, honestly, I would say it's so interesting how that changes based on where you're located. Like, I feel like in some places, there's the opportunity to be physically fit. Europe is one of those places. I mean, you can walk from, transit station to transit station, and it's like you're making an effort to be healthy, right? But here in Asia, like, because, and this is not my own words, this is actually just kind of like a common opinion, but Indonesian people, for instance, are lazy and want to just get as close to, their destination as possible. So they'll ride their bike everywhere, even to the store down the road. So for me, lately, it hasn't been, like, it hasn't made itself as easy as like it usually is. Like, when I lived in the States, I even had the option to walk here or walk there. Like, there was no choice. But here, like, I need to actually find opportunities to do that. And actually, it's interesting that you asked, because I actually have decided I'm getting a gym membership this week, because I think it could ultimately affect the way that I feel inside. So I think when you notice like there is no opportunity to walk here or to walk there, then you have to create those opportunities for yourself. But yeah, it can be challenging in certain locations. I think that's something to be aware of.
I agree
Yeah.
too. And I think the biggest part for me is learning how, because when I didn't travel, I was such a healthy person and like gym
Yeah.
rat, gym goer, and did all of these things. So I
Yeah.
think part of me is learning mentally, like getting the mental part of giving myself grace and like realizing, okay, you know what? I'm going to go 4 days without the gym, but I'm walking around, swimming, snorkeling, and doing all these things. So I am getting that activity in and learning how to not be
Yeah.
so strict about what I think health to be as.
Yeah.
So I definitely get it. Just giving yourself kindness for not keeping up with yourself is important.
Yeah, but then I also realized, like, well, if you do invest into your physical, fitness, then, that could affect other areas of your life. You could actually have more structure in the morning if you start to invest in this physical, health kick. But another thing that I've decided is to be more creative with it. So maybe going to the gym is not suitable or something that interests me at the time. Maybe going to the beach and going for a swim, or going to the pool in my compound is a better way to stay physically fit. So I think being creative, based on your location, could be like a fun thing to do.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. Definitely work with the location you have. And it's cool when you get to do that, because then you're hiking in places and really
Exactly.
enjoying the nature aspect of it, and not just stuck in a room with weights and a treadmill. So yeah,
Exactly right.
definitely agree with that. So what are some practical steps that you would say, let's go with 5 practical steps to take for mental and physical health? It can just be a mix.
5 practical steps. So
Or
one
tips, like
is,
top
I think,
tips.
top tips. Okay. I think one is writing it down to where you can see it. Like, that's one that I think everybody gives it, like, write it down, write it down. But I'm like, it actually does make a difference when you write it down and you see it, and it's like, this is now a physical thing. This is not just an idea. It's now a bullet point. It's now a plan. It's now a part of my calendar. So I think writing can be an important step. And even though we don't, I guess, find it to be a strict step, I think it does something mentally that we don't even realize. Number two, I would say, is creating somewhat of a routine. It doesn't have to be anything strict or, that confines you. But I think having a purpose and knowing like, oh, I'm expected to do this, or I said I'm going to do this and I'm looking forward to it, can really motivate you to have some type of routine or structure in your life. And that makes you feel like you have purpose. Not even makes you feel like you do have purpose. Number three, I would say, is I think making sure you're at least like socializing every now and then. Last year when I was traveling, I didn't find it too important to be around people. I didn't find it necessary to be around people because I'm like, I'm focused on me, and that's the only person that I need to focus on. And I even think that solo travel goes in phases. Like last year it was about me, but this year it's about me, but about me finding community. It looks different, right? So I think making sure you find little pockets to socialize can be super important. I'm sorry, my dog is outside going crazy. I don't know if you can hear that. Fourth tip is, eating things that make you feel good. Because even though something can make you feel satisfied in the moment, having a chocolate croissant can make you feel satisfied, it doesn't necessarily make you feel good. So I think finding things that make you feel good to eat can really contribute to like a better overall mental health. And then I think the last thing I would suggest is setting some type of goals, like setting some type of like, intention to I guess accomplish something that you've never had to necessarily do. Like for example, I've never had to like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of an example now. Gosh, why did I put myself on the spot like this? Well, actually, yeah, since graduating, right? Since graduating, like you're not required to read a book. Nobody tells you like, oh, you have to read a book once a month to, whatever. So I think setting goals like, I would like to read a book this month is a good way to hold yourself accountable, create that structure in your life, and then furthermore, give yourself some type of knowledge.
Yeah, definitely. I agree so much with all of that. Thank you for answering that so thoroughly, especially because I kind of just put you on the spot with that. So those are great answers. And you have
it's good because now I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, you're doing great, Ria. And so you have a Bali retreat coming up. So can you explain to my Nomadistas? I think this would be a perfect opportunity for Nomadistas to attend a retreat like this.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Okay. So Vulnerable on Purpose is a retreat that I'm hosting here in Bali. My first ever retreat by myself. I would have a team, of course, to help me out, but this would be my first retreat here in Bali, and it would be, like we're talking about now, it would be mental health focused, but it would have that travel component because I find that it's a channel of like healing and of, I guess, therapy that people don't typically think about. Maybe the people in this group find that it's a good way to, heal, but I think for the people that maybe didn't see it as a way to heal will really benefit from the opportunity. Anyway, it's a 5-day retreat that I'm going to host here in Bali. It's going to be a balance between traveling, kind of just putting yourself in those new situations to get the wheels turning, learn new things, put yourself in situations to learn more about yourself. And then the other side of it would be to have that downtime to then think about the situations you put yourself in and really, like I said before, step out of your day-to-day life and then really think of what matters to you. But instead of just kind of just sitting there and like staring at the wall, right? You'll be able to do the things that make you feel like your most authentic self. So if that is playing the guitar and, you know, singing along, that's something you could do on the retreat. If it's painting with watercolors, that's something you can do on the retreat. But the important thing to me is that people have the time to do those things that make them feel the most vulnerable and to kind of get down to that truth.
So awesome. I love that so much, Bria. And when will this be?
So right now I am shooting for March 2020. That would be like the large group. However, I have started to gain a little bit more confidence when it comes to planning these retreats. So I think I'm going to do a much smaller one at the end of this year. So if anyone wants to take the leap to come to Bali this year, I will have an opportunity for you.
So exciting. I'll definitely have that in the description and everything. And I'll have your links in the description as well so people can easily find that. Do you have anything else you would like to promote or say?
No, yeah, if you're interested in coming on the retreat, which is going to be amazing, it's so exciting, shoot me an email at thepintsizetraveler@gmail.com, and then we can just be in correspondence from there. I think Kim already plugged my website, so we're good there, and you can find just about anything that I work on that website. So that's it.
Well, I just wanted to thank you again for carving out time and for dealing with my technical non-savviness and trying to figure this all out.
Oh, no
You're
problem.
the first person I've done a live stream with, so this is exciting.
Oh, thank you.
It's so fun, and I'm so glad that you're a part of our Facebook group now, so you can answer any questions that people have.
Me too.
So awesome.
Yeah, and
so
if anybody ever finds themselves in Bali.
Yeah, I'll be in Bali soon, like September. I'm anticipated to be there in September. So.
Oh yeah, I will be here. I will be here.
Awesome. Well, I will meet you in person then. And thank you again for carving out time. I will have the links and the description to all of Bria's things in the replay here in this group. I will also be posting this video on my YouTube channel so you can watch it there. And just wanted to thank you again, Bria.
Thank you so much, Kim. It's so nice to finally talk to you. I can't wait for you to come to Bali. And I hope to have the opportunity to talk about more things, travel.
Definitely. Bye, Bria. Thank you.
All right. Bye.